Gary Palm gave me good advice. Gary Palm was the director of the Legal Aid Clinic at the University of Chicago Law School, where I was a student. And I worked in the clinic. One day we were preparing for a hearing or an appeal, and I was afraid. What if I failed? What if they didn't like me? What if they laughed? And Gary told me, when I feel that way, I should think about my client. Because my client was wrong. My client needs justice. My client needs my help. And therefore, forget about you. You have a job to do. You have a mission to do. Go do it. When we were offered the opportunity to be the recipient of this year's Community Service Award, I hesitated. What if people didn't come? What if they didn't give? What if they didn't like us? My wife didn't hesitate. For my wife, it wasn't a question. The Mesivta is so wonderful. The Rebbeim are terrific. How could you say no? My wife was focused on the client, the cause, the mission. Baruch Hashem, and we heard, listen to your wife, and so here we are. Thank God people came and they gave. And we're very grateful for all of you for coming. Friends, colleagues, family. My stepfather, Kanai just celebrated his 85th birthday. He doesn't like to come from Miami, but he came, along with my mother, who should live long and be well, and Raphael's parents. Rabbi Wolf rescheduled his out-of-town trip to be here this evening. And the dinner campaign is open until the end of June. Still good. Rabbi Pearlstein has a mission. He left the Cheder Lubavitch 19 years ago as principal. A small correction, we partnered with him in the education of all our children, since Lubavitch Mesivta is a sister institution of Cheder Lubavitch and Lubavitch Girls High School, with a mission to provide a top-notch quality Lubavitch education, so both from Chicago and worldwide, and to serve the larger Jewish community. In recent years, the Mesivta has doubled in size because of the great demand for the service it provides and because of the commitment that he, now joined by Rabbi Weinberg, have to providing that service. And together, God willing, they should grow and prosper, which of course means a bigger building. Stay tuned for the building campaign. To who should I compare Rabbi Pearlstein? I thought to say Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, but then I heard from the honoree, Mr. Koval, that the spirit of Lubavitch is to fight and never surrender. And so Winston Churchill, Mahavir, came to mind. Not because of his girth, because Rabbi Pearlstein now is fit and trim. He doesn't smoke a cigar, but he does like a good l'chaim. But precisely that. Winston Churchill in the Battle of Britain, the city of London terrorized by the German Luftwaffe, people living in fear and trembling. The voice of Churchill, strong and resonating, and gave courage. Never surrender, never give in. That's Rabbi Pearlstein. Never surrender, never give in. Do what's right, no matter what the cost, with your last ounce of strength. Or perhaps, as I originally thought, like Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. He lived in the city of Jerusalem in the 1st century when it was laid siege by the Romans. The Zealots refused to surrender. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai wanted to make peace. He was smuggled out, disguised as a corpse, brought to Vespasian, and he pleaded for his life and the life of the students at Yavna. And the rest is history. Those students went on to educate generations and generations of Torah students. This Masifta is Yavna. This Masifta and its Rebbeim are the sages of Yavna. They're motivated by the same spirit. We heard about the dedication, the parents away from home. Rabbis Halberstam, Stern, Cohen, Scharf, Goldberg, Scharf again, Schechter. They are dedicated 100%. But leave that aside, that's their job. Although you couldn't pay somebody for that kind of devotion and dedication. As Rabbi Pearlstein said about the Masifta Bachrim, look what they do in their free time. The Rebbeim can be constantly found, the community at large, giving shiurim for women, chavrusas. At B'nai Ruvain, I personally see Rabbi Pearlstein every morning at 6 o'clock or 6:30, giving his Chassidus shiur. Rabbi Stern, for so many years, I benefited as a student in his Monday night class. Rabbi Silverberg, both an accomplished author, also gives a shiur there in Wednesday night. And so we thank them. We thank them for all they do, and as pointed out, for the support that they have from their wives. Mrs. Pearlstein, some of you may know that in the early days of Masifta, the Pearlstein home was the dorm, and Mrs. Pearlstein not only cared for them, she baked all the cheesecake for Shavuos. A word about the Bachrim, and I think one word will do, and that word is stolz. In Yiddish, it means pride. In German, in origin, it means magnificent. When I see the Masifta Bachrim, I'm proud, and I'm assured of the Jewish future. Mark Twain posed the following question: all things are mortal but the Jew. All forces pass, but he remains. What is the secret of his immortality? It's really no secret at all. Everyone knows that the Torah was given by God to Moses on Mount Sinai. Among other things, our Masifta Bachrim, they learn Gemara every day, many hours of Gemara. The entire Talmud is, as it were, a paean to this belief in the divine revelation at Mount Sinai. The common refrain of the Gemara is, how do we know this? Where did we learn it from? And to tie it back to a word, to a letter, to a phrase in Chumash, because that is the ultimate source of truth. But for that, the entire Talmudic exercise would be a picayune exercise in hair splitting. But when looked at as the passion of a lover for the object of his affection, no amount of obsession, fascination, analysis is too much. Every word, gesture, sigh has meaning, trying to unlock the secrets of the heart. And when a Bachar learns Talmud, he ties himself to that belief. He binds himself to that belief. He creates it and encourages it. My son Yoel and I, we were learning Sukkos recently, and Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, Rabbi Pearlstein's progenitor, he made two takanos, one backward looking, one forward looking. Backward looking to remember the temple. and that is to shake the lulav of 7 days outside of Yerushalayim, all 7 days of Sukkot, to remember the Beis HaMikdash, the temple. The other one is forward-looking, to anticipate and prepare for the temple that will come. And that was not to eat new produce until after the full day of the 16th of Nisan. And our Mesivta Bachrim, they have that backward and forward-looking approach. They tie themselves to the revelation on Mount Sinai, and they eagerly prepare for and herald the coming of the Messiah. So I thank the Bachrim. That's ultimately who we're here for this evening, for their efforts and their learning and what they accomplish. We Jews have lived many thousands of years after the destruction of the temple, exiled in a foreign land, surrounded by other influences, obstacles, both internal and external. We're fortunate to live in a city like Chicago, a relative oasis of prosperity. Rabbi Moskowitz, Alav Sholem, he told me once, Chicago has hatzlacha when it comes to education, success, mazel, because of all the people, he didn't give a reason, but because of you, because of the people. Because of the people like our dinner chairman, our dinner committee, Rabbi Weinberg. As you know, dinners like this don't happen by themselves. There's countless hours of presentation, preparation. Special thanks to my neighbor, Oren Skidelsky, who was this year's dinner chairman. These are dark times indeed, but the Mesivta is an inspiration. To close and borrow a phrase from Churchill, this Mesivta should grow and prosper and continue to light up Chicago and the world, so that when Mashiach comes, may it be soon, speedily in our days, he will say, this was their finest hour.